Hello again, rivals. This is Xonia, and you are in the zone. Today, we're going to be taking an in-depth look at the Berzerk Clan. Just to put my true feelings out there, this is actually, personally, my least favorite clan. Not because of the characters, and not even because of the theme, but because I still feel like UR doesn't really understand what they have to do to make this clan work yet. And until they find that, they're nearly impossible to play in mono. But I digress. Today, we'll be covering their theme, their breakdown through stars and rarities, cost, DMG Clan Comparisons, bonus, breakdown of power and damage, their LD, CR, Miss, Noel, and RB cards, ELO Bans, breakdown of abilities, favorite card, best and worst, underestimated cards, extra info, and clan comparisons. First, the theme of the Berzerk Clan is a play on their name, which is awfully close to the word berserker, or one who attacks in an uncontrollable rage. A Xantiax gas leak at the Red One Motel has caused this group of people who were all staying there to basically turn red and become enraged. So they are all unfortunate victims of a chemical attack who are all about offense. First, let's take a look at the breakdown of the stars and rarities. Berzerk contains 9 2-star cards, 13 3-star, 10 4-star, and 10 5-star cards. It has 11 rares, 16 uncommons, and 13 commons. Of its 42 cards, all of them still retain some usefulness in today's meta. Of the 5 primary damage manipulation clans, Berzerk, Fangpai Clang, Jungo, La Junta, and Pussycats, it has the fewest 2-stars and 4-star cards, and the fewest rare and common cards. This makes sense though, since all the other damage clans have been around much, much longer. Let's take a look at the cost. As you can see from this chart of the 5 damage clans, Berzerk currently has the lowest common and CR prices, but again, that's kind of a no-brainer. They also have the 3rd highest uncommon and rare prices, and overall, Berzerk is the 3rd most expensive of these clans, costing approximately 217k for all of the classic cards. If you follow my video for daily clints earning, you should be able to easily earn 1,000 clints a day without too much effort. That means that it'll take about 217 days, or just over 7 months, to collect everything in the clan with minimum efficient effort. If you're lucky with your daily commons or put in more effort for DTs, of course, then clearly you could earn the entire clan a bit faster. Of course, this also assumes that you want every single card in the clan. Mind you, prices right now are higher because another CR is expected in this clan within the next few CR cycles. Up next, let's take a look at the cross-clan comparisons with other damage clans. I'm sure that this data that you're looking at right now is actually going to surprise almost everyone who's a longtime player, and perhaps even a few of the newer players as we continue to talk about this clan. As you can see from the data, Berzerk is absolutely... Wait a minute. I have to have the wrong chart up there. Seriously? Berzerk is number 1 in 12 of the 15 categories? Even more surprisingly, Berzerk isn't barely winning some of these. They're actually crushing the competition as a clan. So they should be doing quite well, for example in T2 battles. The only stat that they're not top 2 in? Well, damage on their 2-star cards. It seems like such a small thing, but I'm going to argue that it's one of the 3 key undoings of making a working mono Berzerk deck. The 3 being no DR, bonus is only useful once, and DR basically cripples them, which is the opposite of what you would think would happen with their bonus. We'll touch on these more later, but it does point to keeping them out of a mono ELO deck, especially when coupled with their low average 3-star power. This data suggests that Berzerk should be one of the most stable clans in the entire game, with some of the best base stats, which is technically true. Berzerk makes a very strong half deck, whereas the data also suggests Berzerk are also going to have very strong stats, meaning that they are super stable. They don't need their ability or bonus to outshine their opponents quite as much as other clans in base stats. It also implies that their abilities will tend to be weaker and less flashy. Think bangers here. Cards with great abilities, well, they kinda tend to get permabanned instantly. This also means that Berzerk cards are generally not given help in winning their rounds. These cards are almost even more brute force than bangers. They need to choose their punches well and make sure not to lose rounds. and stay out of ELO in a mono deck. Just like with the bangers, they live and die by the pill. One other thing of note is that the Berzerk cards with higher base damage tend to thrive more. Again, we'll touch more on this later though. In fact, it would actually be better to compare Berzerk to Freaks rather than other damage clans. Well, why? Because their bonus really only works once, and only in early rounds, and it has a very costly minimum on it. So why did I do it this way? Well, honestly, because your first thought was probably not, Freaks and Berzerk are very similar clans. Now, was it, honestly? So let's take a look at Berzerk versus Freaks here, quickly. Maybe with all of that lead up, you thought that there was going to be something different than what you see here. Notice how both clans' 5-star cards actually have the exact same average base stats. That's kinda cool, right? Berzerk's still got slightly higher stats than everything else, but 2-star damage. Once again, this results in almost half a point higher. But this is to be expected, because Berzerk also comes with the Backlash ability, which is balanced with better stats. So, Freaks will get better abilities, and Berzerk will get better base stats. The hang-up, though, is that those abilities, they give far more than half a stat point in difference. Also, the Freaks bonus allows for additional damage over time, which is better off overall than Berzerk having a lower minimum of 2. The Freaks bonus alone will do more damage, making that measly half a point overall difference kinda meaningless. Berzerk here shows us how important your bonus is in this game. Have you ever played against a rainbow deck? Well, of course you have. You know, there are no bonuses on any of the cards because they're all from different clans. It doesn't matter how overpowered the abilities are, the other person is generally just going to fall behind because they've got no bonus. And this is essentially the entire Berzerk clan when played in mono. Let's get into the nitty-gritty of the Berzerk bonus. This is the main fault behind the entire clan, and the reason it falls apart, especially in a mono deck. The reason Berzerk is closer to Freaks is that they both have that minimum, and they both really only get to use their bonus once a battle, and they can really only use it the first time. After that, it's useless. So you won't ever KO the opponent with your bonus. It has to be with your base stats. So what's happened is that a lot of Berzerk cards are given lower base damage, because their bonus is damage related, and this is their undoing. They're not like other damage clans, which always get their bonus, which is unhindered. This is one of the reasons why they have a higher base stats than the other damage clans. But honestly, they need to be even higher. 3-star cards need an average of 4 to 5 damage on them, and 2-star cards need to be able to do at least 2 damage before Berzerk will ever hold their own on a mono ELO kind of setting. When a Berzerk 1-star card doesn't do... When a Berzerk 2-star card doesn't do at least 2 damage, there's really no point in having it. I mean, it can't even finish off the opponent at their clan's minimum. What's worse, I think, is that people originally thought, wow, this clan can beat Pussycats and even evade DR cards. They're gonna be really strong. But in reality, it's actually the opposite. DR cards are highly effective against this clan, just like Freaks, in later rounds. Unless they have a finisher. Think of it this way. If you're playing Berzerk and win with Taylor, and you do your 9 damage total, I can still stop you from KOing me with Spike in later rounds by playing Spiaggi, and enough pills to stop however many you need for Fury. In effect, Mono Berzerk is currently like playing Fangpai Clang, but you only get their bonus once. And nobody wants to play that. Now, in a half deck, that issue is removed, but it also means that you can and should expect to see those Berzerk cards come out in round 1 or 2, making your deck perhaps a tad more predictable. Sure, you could wait until round 3, but if I don't play a lot of pills, or just old, 0 pill, with an attack manipulation clan, you're in a lot of trouble. So, act as if your bonus will only ever be used once, and remember that it's usually only good when you use it first. Combine Berzerk with another damage clan, and then you'll see just how powerful I think the devs really meant them to be. Since many clans have an average of 4 to 5 damage, and because they're a damage clan, Berzerk should have lower base damage than most other clans. However, their base power should be high because they're not an attack manipulation clan. So let's take a look at their breakdown for power. Berzerk players have had the benefit of only being around for a short time, which means that a lot of the cards started with high power, helping push their overall averages even a little bit higher. We always expect to see a 7 or 8 power card released for Berzerk. We love the 8 power cards, and the 7 power cards are completely dependent on their ability. As you can guess, cards with 7 or less power will probably get the better abilities, and cards with 8 power will get slightly less powerful abilities, or abilities that make them more versatile. 3-star cards in Berzerk are the worst for power. This makes things particularly difficult for Berzerk, forcing a wider gap in cards, usually few 3 and 4-star cards, and more 2 and 5-star cards. This can make decks less stable, drawing massive hands one game, and 3 2-star cards in the next. This is another reason Berzerk rarely goes mono, especially in ELO. They do have some decent 3-star cards, but decent is about as much praise as I'm going to give them. Mediocre is probably a more accurate term. So the best cards will be 7 power with a great ability, preferably unconditional, like Spike or Kawamashi CR. Or cards with 8 power and a good solid ability, Clive, Graven, Conrad, or Marjorie. Somewhat ironically, one other factor in the good, better, best cards will be its base damage, or if the ability increases or protects its base damage. So, let's take a look at the average damage of the Berzerk. This data here confirms why Berzerk has a lot of issues, and why comparing them to Freaks is actually more accurate. Again, in Berzerk, just like Freaks, you'll always need that finisher that I mentioned just a bit ago. Otherwise, you'll never get below their minimum of 2. This clan is not built to win 3 rounds. There's very little attack manipulation. And if you hit with your low star cards first, then your 4 or 5 star card needs to have enough damage for a KO. So when we look at the 4 to 5 stars, they're doing about 5 to 6 damage on average. Add in the extra 2, and we're at 7 to 8. This means that your 2 to 3 star card needs to do 4 or 5 damage. And the average 3 star does less than 4. So that's no good at all. And they have horrible base power. Things just keep looking worse and worse for Berzerk. This is why 4-star cards that can guarantee 5 base damage are highly sought after, or 5-star cards with 7 base damage. They allow for more, easier opportunities for that 2-hit KO. 4 damage on a 4-star or 5 damage on a 5-star just will not cut it at all, especially in a mono Berzerk deck. Sorry Elvis fans, I'm mostly talking to you. He is great in a half deck, perfect even, but I will never use him in a mono Berzerk deck. Then again, I don't play mono Berzerk, so take that for whatever it's worth. When you also factor in that even a piddly 2DR with a high minimum can stop a KO and leave your opponent with 2 life, sorry Berzerk, this is why no one plays you. Oh, irony of ironies, because you don't do enough damage. However, this shows why cards like Clive and Rudy are so valuable in this clan. They help push through just a little bit more damage, helping you get that KO just a little bit easier. It also shows why cards like Conrad or Marjorie are highly valued. They're some of the few cards that can guarantee slightly better that you will pierce through that minimum 2 gate. The average Berzerk card looks to be about a 7-4, which doesn't seem bad. The problems again though are that their bonus only gets used once, and they have very little attack manipulation to back them up. Those are some of the nails that seal the coffin on why Berzerk just isn't a good clan to play right now. Against SOB, they can't even 2-hit KO. Against SOA, they lose those defeat cards that allow them to more easily 2-hit KO others. Against attack manipulation, they have very few non-ELO ban cards to answer with. And while they do have some power manipulation going on, a lot of it is conditional. Next up, let's take a look at the LD, CR, Miss, Noel, and RBs. Berzerk's LD is Sylvia LD, a 3-star with lots of damage overall. She's just not really worth it though. I mean, she's worth it for the 5 credits for finishing her mission, but otherwise, there's little reason to pack her into your deck. The backlash is just a bit too much for the payoff from an unsupported 7 power that could be reduced to almost nothing against DR. Berzerk currently has 1 CR, Kawamashi CR. Kawamashi went CR on March 6th, 2013, which is a real shame, since he probably was their best 3-star card at the time, and maybe even up until now. It's a real shame that he's no longer with the clan because they sorely need that attack manipulation to keep them afloat. Kawamashi CR is always just a bit lacking in the damage department though. That was his only real flaw. As for miscards, well, Berzerk has none. But Berzerk does have one Noelle card, Lola Noelle. Released for Christmas in 2011, Lola Noelle has generally not been seen in many decks, probably due to her meager 3 damage. Her ability is one of the most important for Berzerk, so it's a real shame that it kinda got wasted on her, because an unaided 7 won't ever do you much good, and only 3 damage is nothing to cheer about when you need at least a base of 4. If she was 8-3 or even 7-4, then things would be quite different, but c'est la vie. Berzerk also has no RBs, and they never will, since they're a recent clan with up-to-date, full-size artwork on all of their cards. As for ELO bans, there are 3 permanently banned ELO cards: Clive, Graven, and Spike. As a final note, Elvis has also seen player bans on and off for a long time, and Fiddler may also see many as well. This is one of the saddest things for Berzerk, honestly. 3 of the approximately 5 total cards that are actually worth playing, they're all ELO permabanned. Up next, let's take a look at a breakdown of Berzerk's abilities. Berzerk has 6 power manipulation cards: Gus, Lizzie, Misery, Flush, Miho, and Spike. Spike is ELO permabanned, and 3 more are conditional, leaving only Lizzie and Miho. Berzerk also has 10 minus life cards, many of which are backlash though: Beef, Bernie, Clive, Cornelia, Cortez, Hillybilly, La Bestia, Rudy, Sprinter, and Sylvia LD. Many of the non-backlash cards are some of the most interesting and best suited cards in the clan. Clive and Rudy provide that extra damage that is so often needed to avoid needing to Fury. Cornelia is one of the few 2-star cards able to guarantee a KO once you're at the Berzerk's min. Hillybilly has issues getting his damage through, but he's one of the best cards when it comes to setting up that 2-hit KO. La Bestia has the best base power in the clan, but little else. And Sprinter is close to being the best 4-star stop card in the entire game. Berzerk is one of the first few clans to get 2 copy op bonus cards in the game as well. The biggest thing of note is that Berzerk has no DR. 4 years now, and still no DR. This is like adding 1 additional nail into why people don't like Mono Berzerk. I understand the main idea of the clan, however, is that they're all offensive cards. They're Berzerkers. They don't heal. Really, I get it. However, Berzerkers also don't do 1 base damage, do they, UR? Seriously, if you're gonna build the entire clan concept around 2-hit KOing and no DR, then you gotta actually give them the ability to 2-hit KO, and even more easily than you have in other clans. Their 3-star cards should be 2-hit KOing with each other if this is the Berzerker clan. In my own opinion, for whatever that's worth, 2-star cards, I think, should have an average of 3 damage. 3-star cards should be at an average of 5, and 4 stars should be 6, with 5 stars basically all being 7 or 8s. To me, that is a Berzerker clan. La Bestia is a beast who does 5 damage, unless he's feeling particularly confident, and then he does 6? Are you kidding me? Seriously, who ever heard of a Berzerker clan that doesn't even have one hit KO card? For me, I want to feel like a Berzerker is running at me, not like a duck. I mean, seriously, charging ducks are scary. Have you ever been run at by a duck? But, I don't really fear for my life. I kind of just run inside and close the door. If this is a Berzerk clan, I want a Berzerker with an axe trying to take off the door from the hinges, or I want him smashing through my window. I just don't get that vibe at all with this clan. I mean, at least with Freaks, you can hit early and DR to victory because the poison works in following rounds. Berzerk, not as much. They don't get DR, just defeat plus life. I just feel like this clan has lost its vision or its purpose. It's not beyond help, but they need more base damage. Heck, make Sylvia LD like 8-7, but give her Uktul's -5 min 0 kind of backlash. In doing so, Berzerk would become a natural anti-SOA clan too. Utilize that backlash ability more, or even give them abilities with min 0s, like Toxin 2 min 0 and a low power. Maybe like a 3-star Suicide Bomber card with 9 power and 5 damage, but backlash -4 min 0. That kind of thing could really save this clan and turn them into a mono force. Anyway, as for conditions, almost half of Berzerk's cards are conditional, and not the good kind. The cards with backlash are generally not even worth using. They're decent cards made bad thanks to Backlash, instead of a double-edged sword that might be worth using. Bangers, however, has far fewer conditionals, but is almost just as brute force. This clan doesn't need to be conditional, or at least not like it is right now. As for future releases, look for cards in this clan that gain pills. We've seen a few pills cards, and they could really help out Berzerk, just like Bangers. Also, look for some really good risk-reward backlash cards. This ability hasn't been utilized to its fullest potential, so cards that do it well, for example, Bernie, will definitely break through. Also, keep an eye out for growth or kill shot cards. I don't know if they'll ever get a support card, but a low-star SOA card or good low-star cancel card might shoot into staple territory immediately. After all, they're still stuck with a lot of really bad 2-star cards, and they're in sore need of some higher power 3-star cards with some decent damage. As for my favorite card, well, no surprises here, but in Berzerk, my favorite card would have to be Spike. Everyone thought they were dreaming when they released Spike. We kind of all collectively said, well, there's a permaban waiting to happen. Spike is devastating because he pulls cards so far beneath him. It's rare to see a card with a min 3 below their own power, and even more so to see one that pulls other cards down by 4. 8-power cards are trampled and eaten by Spike as if they were nothing, and even rescue cards can't escape, since he'll make up the difference in attack after just 4 pills. Spike is that finisher card that clans like Berzerk need, but his problem is that he is too usable. A slightly better example is Arturo from Freaks, a very recent addition. The devs kind of learned that the community would fear another Spike, so they made Arturo a growth card, relegating his ability to just round 4, being that powerful. Honestly, it doesn't really matter though. It's still basically the same card with the same use, except the fine print might make people think that Arturo is less scary. Hint, he's not. Anyway, Spike is absolutely devastating, and makes almost any hand drawn for Berzerk strong. After all, when you can play 2 to 3 extra pills on basically any card in round 1, and guarantee 2 round wins if it gets through because Spike will definitely win, there's very little to complain about here. Spike is a ton of fun to play, and you'll almost never regret having him in your hand. Next, let's take a look at the best and worst cards in the clan, according to star count and then rarity. Again, these choices are subjective. If you disagree, feel free to leave a comment below telling me where you think I messed up. Up next, let's take a look at some underestimated cards. If I had to reveal my personal diamonds in the rough for this clan, I'd have to say Bernie, Costner, and Uma. First, Bernie is a 2-star with 8 power and 3 damage. His backlash is perfect because it's no trouble in later rounds as well. Bernie is the best example of a backlash card that is definitely worth using in the entire clan. Costner is one of the few cards that can also help Berzerk not worry about its minimum. If you can increase your life high enough, a minimum of 2 isn't going to be that big of a problem now, is it? Just watch out because he's an unsupported 7 power. Finally, I know I put Uma as maybe one of my worst uncommon cards, but Uma is also a highly underestimated card. She's an unsupported 7, but she does potentially 8 damage. This is the kind of card that Berzerk needs in a 3-star, because she allows every 4 damage card and lots of 3-star cards to 2-hit KO with her, something that few other Berzerk cards can claim. She should be the rule and not the exception for this clan. Next, let's take a look at the extra info. Berzerk, due to their lack of attack manipulation, pairs very well with a leader like Hugo. This way, they can get a little bit more help in the attack manipulation department. However, I generally stay away from Amber since lots of their cards already have 8 power. However, a 10 power spike is generally enough to make a game set before it even begins. Also, here are 3 popular combos in Berzerk. First, play a Furied all-in Conrad. Follow up with a defeated Clive. Your opponent is dead after round 2. Start with a 0-pilled Rudy, then Fury and all-in on any 8 damage card, currently only Boyle or Cortez. You could also do the same thing with a 0-pill Clive, followed with a Furied all-in 7 damage or higher card, which only includes Taylor, Boyle, or Cortez. These are often used for surprise 2-hit KOs in Berzerk. However, with Clive being permabanned, you're pretty much stuck with just the Rudy plus Boyle or Cortez. Oh, and additionally, note that this clan is perfect to use in finishing minus life missions. Of course, attack manipulation clans can make things difficult for Berzerk because they're unable to force pills and they have to climb over the walls of their opponents. The higher the attack manipulation, the harder it's going to be for this clan. And finally, as before, Berzerk is a popular and strong half deck. They're really good in doing a decent bit of damage and being all around solid. However, they do have trouble in mono situations against pretty much everything. Which clans will Berzerk have the easiest time dispatching? Well, honestly, playing this clan mono is just not a good idea. But the clans that a half deck will probably fare well against are Geist, Jungo, Nightmare, Piranhas, Pussycats, Raptors, and Roots. These clans will have difficulty against Berzerk since they rely on stopping great abilities or their DR to help them win battles. Berzerk can shut these clans down by getting through their DR and not needing to KO, having higher base stats, and not relying too much on their ability or bonus so as to be crippled by its removal. However, be careful against the following clans: All-Stars, Montana, Rescue, Sentinel, Skills, Uluwatu, and Uppers. These clans will require you to use pills to get over their attack manipulation, or beat or reduce your base power into oblivion. The key to success will be making sure that you commit to and win the right rounds with the right cards. This concludes my Berzerk clan review. I hope you feel like you learned something and feel better prepared to both play with and against the Berzerk clan. If you like this video, then feel free to like it, favorite it, and share it. I make these videos so others, including you, can learn about and enjoy Urban Rivals, and nothing makes me happier than when you guys enjoy these videos. Don't forget to leave a comment below if there's anything you think that I forgot to mention, and while you're there, let me know which Berzerk card is your favorite. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.